Blade in hand, suddenly, the monstrous nine-headed Hydra reared up before him. Without a moment's hesitation, he swung his weapon, severing a head with every precise strike. With the serpent vanquished, he journeyed to the frozen wastes of the Arctic to challenge the formidable Boar King. As they charged each other at full speed, the beast expected a head-on collision, but Hercules outsmarted his foe. Leaping onto a nearby tree at the last second, he watched the Boar King crash blindly into the trunk. Airborne, Hercules spun and brought his massive meteor hammer crashing down upon the beast. Still craving adventure, he marched to the lair of the Nemean lion, the mightiest of all predators. This beast was no ordinary foe. Its thick pelt was entirely impenetrable to both arrows and blades. As the enraged lion lunged, Hercules relied on his sheer divine strength, seizing the beast and tearing its jaws apart with his bare hands. His peerless power stemmed from his lineage. He was Hercules, the demigod son of Zeus, king of the gods, and a mortal woman. This celestial heritage allowed him to strangle serpents in his crib at just 2 years old. As an adult, he dedicated his life to protecting humanity. He was revered by the public and highly favored by the royal court. He had a devoted wife, 3 beautiful children, and a life of unparalleled success. But his glory bred bitter jealousy in the reigning king. During a grand banquet, the king secretly drugged Hercules and unleashed wild wolves into his chambers, slaughtering his family. When Hercules awoke from his stupor, his hands were stained with blood. Led to believe he had murdered his own family in a drunken blackout, he was consumed by an unforgivable guilt. Seizing the opportunity, the treacherous king banished him from Athens forever. With his life shattered, Hercules survived as a mercenary, scraping by on blood money. One fateful evening, Hercules discovered his nephew had been captured by pirates and was tied up, moments from being burned alive. Just as the bandits lit the fuse, Hercules emerged from the shadows, wearing the lion's pelt as a helmet. Seeing him alone, the pirate captain sent 5 men to teach him a lesson. Hercules leveled them all with a single sweep of his hammer. Infuriated, the captain ordered his entire crew to charge. Hercules stood his ground calmly, for he was not truly alone. From the darkness stepped his loyal crew: Theseus the executioner, Talon the archer, Amphitryon the sorcerer, and James, his ferocious beast. In under a minute, the pirates were completely wiped out. Hercules stepped forward and caught his falling nephew just in time. As they celebrated their victory that night, a foreign princess approached Hercules. She desperately pleaded for his help, explaining that trusted generals had betrayed her kingdom, plunging the land into a brutal civil war where innocents were dying daily. Sitting nearby, one of Hercules' companions noted that while time was short, they would only fight if the price was right. The princess assured them that her father was exceptionally wealthy and would reward them with mountains of gold. Hercules agreed, explaining the money was necessary to fund weapons and supplies. Upon arriving in the foreign kingdom, Hercules noticed a colossal statue erected in honor of Hera, Zeus's wife. The princess remarked that it had taken 5 years to build, largely because her people doubted Hercules' divine heritage. However, to her young son, Hercules was already a living legend. The king then detailed the crisis. Their closest ally had betrayed them through deception, fracturing the realm. He warned Hercules that their enemy was no ordinary man, but a powerful sorcerer whom no mortal could defeat. Furthermore, rumors claimed the wizard's vanguard included terrifying centaurs. When one of Hercules' female companions asked where these beasts hid, a royal advisor admitted that no one had ever actually seen them. They existed only in terrifying campfire tales. Hercules and his crew immediately began training the kingdom's remaining men, who lacked any real military discipline. He ordered the conscripts to lock shields, but when one of Hercules' companions charged the line, he smashed through the formation with ease. Hercules reprimanded them harshly, warning that such a fragile shield wall would mean certain death on the battlefield. As the grueling training intensified, scouts brought word that the enemy army was advancing. Hearing this, Hercules advised seeking a diplomatic resolution, warning that total war would leave nothing but ashes for both sides. The king stubbornly refused, declaring that peace would only return once their enemies were utterly eradicated. That night, the princess's young son slipped into Hercules' quarters. Looking up at the hero with awe, the boy confessed his dream of becoming just like him. Moved by the child's purity, Hercules unclasped a locket from his own neck and placed it around the boy's. He gently explained that he had once intended it for his own son, but now he wanted the prince to have it. The following dawn, the army marched toward the front lines. Along the way, they encountered a horrific sight: severed heads lining the road. The king claimed the enemy wizard had done this to break their morale. Hercules signaled for the army to dismount and proceed on foot. However, upon inspecting the gruesome remains, Hercules realized the wounds were days old. It was an ambush. Suddenly, hostile tribesmen surrounded them from the ridges. Hercules was stunned to find the very civilians they came to protect were now attacking them. The enemy king had used his dark sorcery to enslave their minds. A fierce battle erupted. Hercules fought like a man possessed, overpowering every attacker until the hostile tribesmen were defeated. Despite the victory, the king was distraught to see most of his vanguard wiped out. Hercules angrily reminded him of his warnings, stating the army was nowhere near ready for such a conflict. Realizing his arrogance, the king finally humbled himself and agreed. In the days that followed, Hercules sank into a deep depression, plagued by nightmares of his slaughtered family and a terrifying three-headed beast. He confided in a companion that before this campaign, he had encountered a mysterious oracle, a messenger of the gods capable of foresight. The creature had prophesied that Hercules would eventually have to finish his uncompleted mission. Though deeply unsettled, Hercules shook off the omen. Eventually, they reached the enemy's stronghold. Initially, the battle went poorly. The newly trained army lacked cohesion, their maneuvers clumsy and unpolished. Yet fortune favored them, and through sheer grit, they began to turn the tide. In the chaos, the enemy king charged Hercules directly. Swiftly pulling the ruler from his mount, Hercules pinned him to the dirt and dragged him back to camp in chains. Instead of begging for his life, the captured king spoke defiantly. "You have imprisoned me under a lie. I am not the one who destroyed this realm." Confused, Hercules demanded the truth. The captive replied, "Think logically. The king you fight for claims absolute righteousness, yet where is his loyal army? Why does a great ruler need mercenaries to fight his battles?" He insisted that they were serving a tyrant. That evening, a massive victory banquet was held to celebrate the kingdom's expansion. While the court openly humiliated the caged enemy king, the princess watched in silent horror. Noticing her distress, Hercules pulled her aside and assured her she could speak freely. Tearfully, the princess confessed everything. Her husband had been the rightful king, and the captive general had been his most loyal protector. Her own father had poisoned her husband to usurp the throne. The general had only raised an army to avenge his fallen master. The true villain behind the realm's agony was her father. She explained she had remained silent only because the tyrant held her young son hostage. She begged Hercules to take her boy away from this corrupted court and raise him to be an honorable man. Before Hercules could process this, a guard arrived, summoning him to the throne room. The king welcomed Hercules warmly, praising his tactical brilliance in forging a peasant militia into a lethal army. The tyrant boasted that these soldiers would now train thousands more, allowing him to conquer the known world. He offered Hercules a permanent position as his right-hand commander. Hercules flatly refused. The king's warmth instantly vanished. Controlling his anger, he coldly stated it didn't matter, promising Hercules his gold and telling him he was free to leave, arrogantly claiming a king had no real need for mercenaries anyway. As Hercules and his companions prepared to depart through the village, he noticed the profound sadness of the locals. He hadn't just taught them how to fight, he had taught them honor, discipline, and self-worth. Looking at the grieving villagers, Hercules halted. Without a word, he cast his pouch of gold into the dust, vowing to stay and protect them. One of his companions grew furious, urging him to take the money and run. But the rest of the crew stood fast. One by one, they dropped their bags of gold, choosing honor over wealth. Only the disgruntled companion kept his coin, turning his back on the group and leaving alone. Hercules and his remaining crew marched back into the palace to confront the tyrant, but they walked straight into a trap. Armed guards surrounded them from all quarters, holding the princess and her son captive. An advisor revealed that the princess had tried to smuggle her son out with Hercules. Furious, the king snatched the child away, and his guards ambushed Hercules, knocking him unconscious. When Hercules awoke, he was bound in heavy iron chains. Standing before him was a guest, the very king from his homeland whom he had served for years. The ultimate betrayal was laid bare. The two tyrants had formed an alliance to conquer the world together. The foreign king had brought 3 massive, ravenous black wolves with him. As the beasts howled, the sound triggered a horrific memory in Hercules. It was the exact howling he had heard on the night his family died. The truth hit him like a thunderbolt. The king of his homeland had orchestrated the slaughter of his wife and children. Enraged, Hercules demanded to know why. The king coldly explained that he was supposed to be the kingdom's ultimate hero, but the people loved Hercules more. Unable to kill him openly without causing a rebellion, The king framed him for the murders to destroy his legacy. The evil king ordered the immediate execution of the captives, starting with his own daughter. As Hercules watched helplessly, his companions shouted words of encouragement through the din, telling him that if he lost faith now, everyone would perish. The spark of divine fire reignited within him. Roaring with celestial fury, Hercules shattered the massive iron links binding him. He lunged across the platform, tackling the executioner and saving the princess just in time. The three black wolves sprang at him, but in a display of terrifying power, Hercules slaughtered the beasts barehanded. He quickly broke the chains of his companions and freed the wrongfully imprisoned general. Both kings fled the chamber in terror. Hercules pursued his former ruler, catching him in the courtyard. Consumed by years of grief and rage, Hercules executed the traitorous king in the exact brutal fashion his family had been taken. Rejoining his crew, they marched to the palace steps, where the remaining tyrant stood behind a wall of guards. A soldier held a dagger to the throat of the princess's young son, ordered by the king to kill him instantly. Suddenly, an arrow pierced the executioner's throat. The companion who had abandoned them for gold had returned, bow in hand, saving the young prince. The tyrant's army launched a frantic assault. In the opening clash, the returning companion was mortally wounded and succumbed to his injuries. The royal guard pressed forward, but the peasants trained by Hercules rallied, locking their shields into an unbreakable, disciplined wall that held the line perfectly. Noticing the towering statue of Hera looming over the battlefield, Hercules ran to its base. Straining against the marble with his divine strength, he toppled the colossal monument. The massive statue shattered across the courtyard, crushing the advancing enemy forces and throwing the survivors into a panic. As the structure collapsed entirely, a rogue piece of stone fell, crushing the tyrant king to death. Silence fell over the kingdom. Seeing the tyrant dead and witnessing Hercules' awe-inspiring bravery, the remaining soldiers and citizens dropped to their knees in reverence. Whether Hercules was truly the biological son of Zeus no longer mattered to them. He had earned his place among legends, not because of the blood in his veins, but because of the strength of his character, his indomitable courage, and his heart for the common people. And so, the true legend of Hercules was born.